Hi, everybody. This is Drew, and this is a stretch and move class that's going to really help with your mobility, help you to feel so good. It's not a particularly difficult workout, it's just all easy movements down on the floor, but you may find a couple of them kind of challenging. I think you're going to really enjoy it. So, if you're ready to get started, all you're going to need is a yoga mat or some sort of exercise mat, maybe a yoga block, and a blanket or two might be useful to you. So, if you're ready, go ahead and come down onto the floor and we will get started. All right, let's get started. We're going to be all the way down on the floor and onto your back. We'll take just a moment here before we get started to breathe slowly and deeply to help connect mind and body. Allow the arms to be away from the body, relaxing your legs and your arms as you breathe in through the nose and back out through the nose. Feel your entire body relaxing and connecting. One more long, deep breath. And then very slowly bend up your knees. Wrap your arms around the knees and squeeze your knees in towards your tummy. And then lift your head away from the ground and pull your knees in towards your chin. And we're going to do that movement a few times. So the head lifts, the knees pull in, and then the knees move forward and the head lowers back to the ground. So you're just pulling your knees in, lifting your head up, squeezing in like a cannonball. And then move the knees out wide apart, and we're going to begin circular motions with the legs. So bring the knees out wide, draw them back in and back out into giant opposite direction circles. And this is a nice compound movement here. You're moving the hips through range of motion, but you're also rounding and arcing the low back. And then reverse the direction. Nice and smooth with these circles. And last one, let the feet come back down onto the ground and let your arms be out away from the shoulders with the palms facing up. Start to move the knees from side to side. So again, here you're working the hips and the low back together, allowing your knees to fall to one side and then the other. You can also start to move the head in the opposite direction of your knees. So you're getting all of your spine involved in this movement. A couple more times to each side. And then for our next move, roll over to one side. So you're all the way lying on your side with your knees bent and your lower arm underneath your head. You're going to take your top arm, reach it up toward the ceiling, and then all the way over across to the other side. And you're trying to follow your hand with your gaze. So your head is going to move along with the arm and the shoulder. And if your head needs to come off the ground at first, that's okay. Eventually, as you warm up into this movement, you may find that your head can basically stay on the ground as you do this movement. If you find the knees are lifting up a little bit, that's okay. Eventually, the knees may stay all the way together as you reach the hand all the way across to the other side. Let's go ahead and flip it over, and we'll get this same exercise to the other side. So you're stacking the hands, shoulders, knees, and hips as you start this movement, reaching that arm all the way across. And again, getting the head to follow the movement. This is a great thoracic spine opener right across the middle of the back, an area of the body that gets so tight. And we'll get this one a couple more times. All right, fantastic. Go ahead and roll back onto your back, recentering your hips. Lengthen out your legs. Let your arms be right next to your sides and sweep the arms up and back behind your head in a full stretch. And then bend up your knees, wrap the arms around the knees and squeeze in, and then release. Legs up toward the ceiling. And then bend the knees, let the feet come onto the ground. Stretch out your legs, reach your arms behind your head. We'll form a pattern here. Bend up the knees, wrap the arms around the knees, squeeze in. The feet go up toward the ceiling. Bend the knees, land the feet back onto the ground. Stretch out your legs, reach the arms behind your head. Keep going with this same pattern. Bend up the knees. feet up toward the ceiling. Bend the knees, land the feet back onto the ground. Next, we're going to set up for bridge. So the knees will be bent, feet on the ground, arms by your side. Bridge your hips up. Squeeze your glutes at the top of the bridge, and then roll the spine back down. So the objective here with this bridge is to move your spine as much as possible. So feel like the spine is rolling as you go up and rolling as you go down. Feel your abdominal muscles working as you move through the bridge. Strong glute squeeze at the top of the bridge, and then rolling the spine back down. On this last one, we're going to hold the bridge. At the top, squeeze your muscles tight and hold and breathe, and then slowly release that bridge back down. Bend up your knees, wrap the arms around the knees and squeeze in. And then release the feet back down onto the ground, arms by your sides. On this next pattern, we're going to add to the bridge. So set up for your bridge again, rise the hips up, and then lower the hips down, lift the feet straight up toward the ceiling, and then open the legs wide into a straddle stretch. Draw the legs back together, bend the knees, land the feet back onto the ground. Arms are going to stay on the ground, bridge the hips up, lower the hips back down. Sweep the feet up toward the sky, open the legs wide, straddle stretch, draw the legs back together, bend the knees, land the feet on the ground, and again repeat with the bridge. And then the feet rise up, legs open out into straddle, draw the legs together, bend the knees, land the feet onto the ground, and do that pattern one more time. And then softly land the feet back onto the ground and straighten your legs out along your mat. Sweep the arms behind your head, give yourself a full body stretch out. Reach your hands up toward the ceiling, interlace your fingers, flip your palms toward the ceiling, and then sweep your arms back behind your head. Bend your elbows if there's any pain in the shoulders. And then slowly bring the hands back up toward the ceiling, pushing into the fingers. Release the hand hold and lower your hands by your sides. We're going to repeat that same movement. Interlace your fingers above the chest. Reach the arms behind your head. Reach the hands back up. Release the fingers, arms by your sides. We'll repeat that pattern 2 more times. Last one here. And arms by your sides once again. Bend up your knees. Wrap your arms around the knees and squeeze in. And then wrap your hands around the right knee only and extend your left leg up toward the ceiling. Make some ankle, foot, and toe movements, circles, spreading the toes side to side, any kind of movement you can find there for your ankle. And then we're going to slowly lower that leg all the way down to the ground, slow motion. Once the left foot's back on the ground, pull the right knee actively toward the right shoulder. And then release that right leg down, bend up both knees, wrap the hands around your knees and squeeze your knees in toward your chest. And we'll switch sides. Hands go around the left knee, right leg extends up toward the ceiling, and make your right ankle movement, circles side to side, spreading the toes, getting both directions. And then release that leg, slow motion, all the way down to the ground. And we're going to switch legs again. So wrap the hands around the right knee, pull the right knee toward the right shoulder. And then we're going to take the left hand off of the knee and let the right hand guide the knee out to the right. Your left arm is going to reach out away from the left shoulder. So try to hold yourself centered as the right leg reaches out. And then switch hands. Bring the leg back to center. your left hand pulls the knee across your body into the twist side. And we're going to repeat that. So knee back to center. Right hand takes the knee out to the right. And then switch hands. Left hand takes the knee over to the left into the twist. And back to center. We'll do the same thing to the other side. Left knee bends up. Hands around the left knee. Pull it in. And then let the right hand fall off of the knee. The left hand opens the knee out to the left as you reach the right arm out away from the right shoulder. And draw the leg right back up and we switch sides. Right hand takes the knee across to the twist side as the left arm reaches out away from the left shoulder. Then back to center, we'll do it one more time. Out to the left. And switching hands over to the right. And back to center. Stretch that leg all the way out along the ground. Sweep the arms behind your head. Give yourself a full body stretch out. And then bend up the knees. Wrap the arms around the legs. Squeeze in. And then lift your head up off the ground and rock yourself up to upright seated position. Nice going with that floor sequence. Now you might want to put a blanket underneath your hips or even a yoga block if you'd like to get your hips up even higher. Make sure that you're comfortable here and able to keep your back relatively straight in the seated position. Let the knees open out to the sides. Place your hands on the knees. Lean forward into the stretch and press right back up. So a dynamic stretching movement here. You're going to lower down into the hip stretch. Come right back up out of it. Look up toward the ceiling. Extend through the spine. And then switch legs and keep going. Same exact movement. Other foot in front. Full extension as you look up toward the ceiling, and then switch the legs again. And this time we're going to start the circles. So big, full circular motion here. You're allowing your body to move into the stretch position. So we don't force this. You just let your hips gradually find their stretch because of the movement. Let's reverse direction. I like to make these circles just as big as possible, as big as the hips will allow. And then back to center. We're going to go right into the side bends, so up and over. So you might just place the hand on the floor as you're leaning over to the side, or you might even be able to get the elbow down to the ground. It really doesn't matter. And you can let the opposite hip even come off the ground a little bit if you would like, just to accentuate the movement. Try to think about the spine lengthening up and over as you go through the side bend. All right, back to center. Place the hands on the knees, round the spine, and then arc the spine. Nice full stretch there. And then we'll come back to the neutral position. So switch out the feet again here in your seated position. And if you need to, you can scoot the feet forward of the hips a little bit and let the knees be a little bit higher if you need to in order to get your back to be as straight as possible. You could even separate your feet all the way out to the sides if you need to. Whatever position works for you, make sure your spine is elongated and then turn your head to the right. Look up toward the ceiling and over to the left. Look up toward the ceiling and over to the right. Keep going here. Look up and over. Looking up and over, trying to get as much movement and extension through the neck as you possibly can. And then bring your neck back to center. Now this time we're going to tilt the right ear toward the right shoulder. Use your left hand to pull your head across into the stretch. And then switch sides. Tilt over to the left and use your hand to pull that neck across, and we'll do that one more time. So good to stretch through the side of the neck. And keep your head as directly up over the shoulders as you can when you do your neck work. With this next exercise, you might need to get your hips up even a little higher off the ground. You're going to bring your left foot by your left hip and your right foot will be in front. You can move that foot out away, get the feet away from you a little bit, will help to relieve any pain in the knees perhaps, or have the feet in close. We're going to rotate to the right and then to the left. Now the goal here is to keep your spine as straight upright as possible And you don't have to necessarily move very much here. The hips are in a very interesting position where this is really going to help improve your mobility of your hips, but you may not get a whole lot of movement. So just go from side to side, whatever you can. And then we'll switch sides here. Again, give your feet some space away from the other leg if you need to. Kind of find your way through this, figuring out what is going to work best in terms of the positioning on this exercise. Keeping that spine as elongated and tall as you can. And back to center. And we're going to repeat that position. So left foot by the left hip and right foot in front against the thigh. And then this time you're going to put the hands on the ground and lift your hips up. An option to lift the hands all the way off the ground as well. Now, if that doesn't work for you, you're just going to keep your hands on the ground. You're going to see what your knees are capable of here. If the knees are okay, you lift all the way up and the hands come up off the ground. But if you need some support, you might only be doing a 1 or 2 inch lift here, keeping the hands on the ground. This is very therapeutic for the knees. Just make sure that you're not creating any pain in the knees as you do this exercise. Good for strengthening core as well. You're really using your tummy and your hip muscles to make the lift. You may find the more you do this, the more your knees are receptive to it. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Again, use the hands on the ground as much as you need to. And if there's no pain or problem with the knees, then you can go ahead and lift the hands up away from the ground. At first, you might have to be really cautious with this one, but I do feel like if you are struggling with the knees, then this may be a great way to bring some mobility to them. And feel how much your tummy muscles and your hips are working here as well, so multiple purpose here with this exercise. And we'll get one more all the way through. And then swing your legs all the way out along the mat. You can keep the blanket underneath you or move it off to the side. Just bounce out the knees, make some ankle, foot, and toe movements. All right, you can remove the blanket if you like or keep it underneath. Either way, you're going to lower back onto the elbows, pull the belly in. The right leg goes straight up. Now, you can do this exercise with the knee bent if you need to. Otherwise, the leg is straight. So you're going to be making right hip circles here, either bent leg or straight. Now, this is a challenging exercise for the core and for the hip flexors. So a very important exercise. Again, bend the knees if you need to. Otherwise, you're keeping that leg as straight as you can. Reverse the direction. Your eventual goal here is to make these circles as big as possible. All right, let's switch legs. Again, bent leg or straight. And the shoulders are doing a lot of work here too. So make sure the arms stay strong. You're not sagging down into the shoulder joint. You're keeping yourself lifted and tall out of the shoulders while you make these leg circles. Reverse the direction. And last time around. And then release and lift back up off of your elbows and turn yourself to face forward. And we have one more exercise to go for today. This is going to be our longer hold stretch. So again, the blanket or the yoga block or both underneath might be useful to you here. We're just going to do this firelog cross-legged position and come down into the stretch. I like to use my hands to pull the glute muscles up and out of the way, kind of rock side to side, get right up on those sit bones. And then your hands could be on the floor or they could be on the knees, wherever you like. They could even be behind you if you need to kind of push yourself forward into the stretch. Now we're going to hold this a little longer. This is not a dynamic movement. This is a static hold position. So we're going to use the breath. I'm going to take a full inhale and then a slower, longer exhale as you go down a little deeper. So you're working with your breath. Muscles are relaxed. You're letting your head drop. letting your hip muscles relax. Patiently breathing. Go ahead and slowly work yourself up and switch the legs out, and then we go right back into it. Now, as always, you're never going to pain in any of these positions. You're finding modifications. You are okay with going down into a partial stretch if that's better for you, so you don't feel pain. Patiently breathing, long inhale, longer, slower exhale. Stay with it another breath. And then slowly work yourself up. Nicely done. Give yourself another long, deep breath. Stretch your neck. Look up toward the ceiling. Lengthen your spine. Raise your hands up high toward the ceiling. Bring your palms to touch above your head. Lower your hands down onto your heart. And thank you so much for allowing me to guide you today. Nice job with your workout, and I'll see you again real soon. All right, well, there you go. 20 minutes of stretch and move, feel good movements. The idea there is to help you to feel more mobile and help your body release pain so you can move more freely. I hope it felt great to you. And if you like these workouts, I have all kinds of workouts on my website for strength, for stretch, for cardio, for all kinds of different things that are designed for 55 plus. So you're welcome to check those out at StayAheadFitness.com. And I'd love it if you would subscribe to this YouTube channel and to like this video if, of course, you liked it. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.